Hello Capricorn, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm here to do your next reading, Capricorn. So I've pre-shuffled the cards and laid them out here. Well, I laid out these cards. But then I had this feeling that I should take out the drivers as well, so underlying energy from the bottom of the deck, they are down here. And for some reason, I feel like it's a bit of the same thing that I said for Scorpio reading, that it's like, you know, there can be things in your life that you want to achieve it, but it may not be for your highest good. Meaning that, and now I touch upon something that I've said in some of the other readings as well. I say that I believe that every zodiac sign has a core, an undisputable core that is, you know, it's like something you fight for, something you stand for, something that is vital to you, that it must never be messed up, it must never be changed, it must never be killed, you know. It's something very vital that shows the world that you are you. Of course, you can have all kinds of things that you know about yourself that is, partly you maybe, and partly something you've learned, something your parents told you, something your grandparents told you, something you learned in school. You know, the recipe for life, you know, it can be given in many ways for us. How to, and I had that coming up during this pre-shuffle, how to achieve the goals you have. Something about achieving goals or achieving life purpose. There's a difference between pursuing and achieving maybe ego goals and pursuing and achieving life mission goals. Depending on how you see the world, right? If you are on an awakening path, you may discover that some of the things you have done in life is actually not in accordance with your authentic self. It's not in accordance with your true vibration, and it is a result of some of the things you've learned, some of the things you have been advised about. You know, maybe you are partly there. Maybe a part of you is aligned and another part is not. Capricorns are said to be ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is a hard teacher, right? Life can be hard for Capricorns. So learning that life is hard, difficult to handle, difficult to navigate, sometimes without maybe much help or support, you know. Well, we can tend to trust the things we hear. We can tend to trust the advice or what school teaches us, but sometimes takes us away from maybe that core I'm talking about, this thing in you that is driving something forward, and as something that must never be changed, never be messed with, never be killed, never be annihilated, never be rejected, never been forgotten. You know, it's something that is of vital importance to where I know survival, yeah, but also thriving in the world. And I think sometimes Capricorns, you can be more about surviving, right? It's Saturn is quite a hard, or can be a hard teacher. He's called the great teacher, meaning that he'll put things in your way, you would say, that you have to deal with, that you have to sometimes also overcome. If you can overcome them, the rewards will be great. But overcoming them can be difficult. From a human perspective, it's difficult. And sometimes you could say other zodiacs or other friends or family members, they don't get it. Like, they don't understand why it is so, you could say, serious or dark for Capricorns. That Capricorns can be quite serious people, right? They're usually something at risk. Capricorn is this time of year, you could say, in the Northern Hemisphere, we have Christmas around the corner. Christmas is in the time of is in the Capricorn season. It is in the time of the year where we have the darkest time, or the fewest sun hours, and more darkness. So if you look at like from a more astronomy perspective about Earth and how it interacts with sun and moon and everything, the Capricorn season for Earth is a time of more darkness. It is a time where you have to work efficiently during the, you could say, the sunlight hours of the day, because it's the only time where you had light, where you can see something. So here we have to go back in time before we had electric light. Way back in time, people had to, gather food to survive the winter. It was a cold, harsh time. It was a period during on Earth, you could say, that was cold and harsh, and sometimes you could say retrieving into your caves, retrieving into the ground in underground environments where you could live, because outside it was so hostile, right? The situation outside was hostile, cold, difficult to navigate. It was dark. It was, you would say, for human nature, it was not welcoming. The winter season is not necessarily welcoming for the human body. When you have snow and cold and ice, and there's nothing to harvest really, that there's no corn, there are no apples, nothing, no fruit, nothing. It's all frozen or withered or rotten or something. So therefore you had to gather. You had to gather in the autumn season. You had to gather the things you needed so that you could survive during the winter, where you had more in time than out time, right? That it was hostile out there. So it's like a constant dealing with something that seems hostile in some way. That could be the feeling of a Capricorn. So what does that mean? It means that if you have to go out there, you somehow have to equip yourself. You have to learn to adapt. right? You have to gather skin and fur, so that you can protect your body when you go out there. You had to, Capricorns, you could say, represent a time for human life where we are adapting to the hostile. We need to adapt, or at least to be able to navigate. That is how I believe that the Capricorn mind works. That it can stand in front of a problem, you could say, or a hostility, and figuring out how to navigate it. Like, what does it take for me to be able to, like, interact with this? What does it take for me? How do I need to adapt to this? And this adaptation can be, it can be a bit like a shape-shifting, like depending on, well, what you have, what else is influencing your zodiac. In my own case, I have a Capricorn rising and I'm a Cancerian sun. So my Cancerian sun is way too gentle, way too sweet, and way too gentle to navigate Capricorn energy. My Capricorn rising is a result of needing to navigate in hostile environment. At least that's what I felt. I felt it was hostile to me. It didn't fit me. It was different than me, right? So in my world, it became a sense of a hostility to deal with. To be able to navigate there, I developed a sense of Capricornish kind of energy. I had to be able to navigate this cold environment somehow. But it was due to my Cancer sun, right? If I had a different kind of sun sign, perhaps it would have developed maybe differently. So it depends on many things here. But in my case, my Cancerian sun was way too gentle. I would be like thrown to the ground by this hostility. Like it was way too weak, you could say, or too, I would prefer to say gentle. It was way too kind and sweet and gentle to navigate this realm. So I had to compensate also. That's how it was developed. That's why the Capricorn rising has been helping me to navigate the life I had, the life circumstances. So you can be a Capricorn sun, and this means that you do have the ability to navigate this, but it's still tough. Like I don't know any Capricorn who has not had a life of struggle, whatever way that could be. Mentally, socially, physically, spiritually, some kind of overwhelm or some kind of tough situation. I don't know any Capricorn who has not done that. But you let me know if you think you've had an easy life, right? In tarot, Capricorn is associated with the Devil card. I don't think there's anything devilish about you, Capricorn. It's more like it's this feeling that you are, as I said, it's like you are in a constant, like there's this other thing that you are always somehow struggling with. I don't know, for some of you, maybe you feel like it's almost like I'm dealing with the devil. Like it almost feels like I'm dealing with something that it never stops. Like it's a never-ending story, kind of. right? It just keeps coming. It just keeps showing itself, or it just stays in some way. And well, yes, Saturn stays. But Saturn also gives great rewards if you somehow manage to figure this out, what it is. Why do you have these things in front of you? And again, the battles that you it's like becoming involved with something that is just a struggle. So I want to return back to what I wanted to say initially. This idea about what you want is maybe not for your highest best. Like if your soul could speak, or if your higher self could guide you, you would be guided in a different direction if you could hear it. But because of the struggle that Capricorns are usually involved with, we can tend to build an ego, a protection thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have this. It's just whether it's working for you or against you, actually, right? It's to figure that out. So the goals you have been pursuing, are they really that important? Are they really your life mission? Are they really, or is it just about surviving? Is it about, leaving the gutter to have ego success? Is it ego driven? What is it? Like, is it really worth the fight sometimes also? Because there's an obstacle in front of you, it doesn't mean that you have to engage with it all the time, does it? You can choose. You can choose your fights. You can choose whether it's worth it or not. You just have to figure out what is worth fighting for then. So, again, because you have a limited amount of daylight, you have a limited amount of power, perhaps. Sun is associated with power, strength, maybe health, vitality, spotlight, bling, success. And Capricorns, it's like there is just so little to do with. Like, there is the primary time is darkness, and there's such little sunlight here. We could transfer this to something like how much, you could say, how big are your batteries? Like, are your batteries, strong and fit and fully loaded all the time? Or do you need downtime? Like, if you really need downtime, and I think Capricorns do, like they need to be extremely efficient for a short period of time and then actually not. That is the natural state of Capricorn. Then you go back into your cave, you light your candle and your little fire, you relax. You think about, you reflect on your day, you think about your decisions, you start to plan. You make a good plan. You make an efficient, good plan. We could say that Capricorns represent 20-80, like the working 20%, relaxing or rejuvenating 80%, right? It just has to be efficient. Like, it has to be, and that plan is coming up with that plan for you is vital to how you use your energy, how you can be most successful within a little period of time or with little effort, with less effort. Because that is your window, like that is your, that's how, you could say, the natural force of Capricorn is built, you could say. It is the time of year where there is less sunshine. Less warmth. Like it is in the cold, or you could say, so either you become friend with the cold and darkness, and you learn what is that? What is supposed, what can I gather from this? In what way is the darkness an interesting phenomenon to work with? Or the cold, or the hostility? In what way can I harvest something from this? Is there a way where I can, if you live in Greenland or on Greenland, they have, like, most of the time, there's darkness. Full darkness, 24/7. So to survive there, you have to figure out how to do that without the sun. How do you recharge your batteries without the sun, without any warmth, you have to find a way to do that. To survive in that cold, right? They have learned how to adapt to that environment. They build igloos, right? They can survive with their kayaks out on icy water, hunting for whales or hunting for it's an environment that is seemingly very hostile. It's not human friendly, right? So if you are born into a season like that, this is a time of, you could say, planning, and that's what I believe that Capricorns are. They are very good planners, and they plan ahead. They are proactive because it's inbuilt in them. It's in your DNA that that you have to somehow be quite effective and efficient with your time. There's a limited time to maybe build your success, right? If you are a professional football player, you know that I have to do very well within the next 10 years, because when I hit 35, my professional career is maybe done. My legs can't, keep this up. My body can't keep this up. I'm going to be injured. I will have injuries. So I have a limited amount of time to build my empire, or to build my home, to create you could say, the things that I would like. Does that make sense? There could be a feeling of, like an underlying drive in you that says that you kind of have to hurry. That you have to make the best of what is here now, You have to make the best out of, and that's the seriousness. This is where it becomes a bit serious to stick to the plan, to gather your stuff, to get it together, to have enough. And Capricorns are known to be able to kind of shove things aside because they have set themselves a goal out here. And they have to get to that goal. And therefore, in the winter time, you can't stop and chat, right? Then you freeze to death. you have to be out and back, right? That is, and then we can chat, right? But out in this environment, no, I shove things aside so that I can get to my goal and get back again, right? That is the get the things I want, go back, right? Get things done or set up, retrieve. Because you need to be able to have this security place where you can reload and warm up again and warm your batteries up and everything. So I see Capricorns can get involved in, it could be work that is pretty stressful, work that demands a lot. They have to be extremely decisive and goal-oriented. Capricorns are known to be the goat on top of the mountain, right? They have somehow figured that out, a goat climbing that mountain, that rock mountain. It takes skill. It's not a normal thing for a goat to do. With their hooves, like it's not designed to climb a mountain like that. It's not, but up there they have the best view, right? They can see things from above. They can see they can have a better overlook, about everything, which they cannot have when they are at the ground here. So, and that's why I feel like Capricorns are strivers, right? They seek to get to that top of the mountain. They seek to figure out how to, as that goat, to climb that mountain. How can I do that as fast as possible? Goal-oriented with education, goal-oriented with maybe work or building a business or something. Goal-oriented in the sense they have to know enough to be able to stand here, successful at the top. I believe we can have many Capricorns that are, they get to the CEO level. They get to the COO or CEO or CIO or something. They get to CFO. They get to these positions that have leadership, that has a good planning, efficiency, good bottom line. It is successful. It yields results. And it's due to pretty hard work and diligence and devotion and planning and focus and discipline. That is the way. It's the only way for Capricorns usually, right? So that's how I see Capricorns, and it's because you're fighting for something in you, right? There's something. It's like you are the stardust that needs to survive, right? That you have the right to be here just as everyone else, and you're fighting for that right. You're fighting to make that example, to show yourself in the world, right? To show that you can do this no matter what is put in front of you. You can be thrown to the ground, you will rise up again, right? Capricorns can never give up. Like giving up is a death sentence. And again, you're fighting for your right to be here, right? Your light has to persist, right? Your way of doing something has to persist. Your excellency, your efficiency, that's what you're showing the world, right? And you're very hard workers, Capricorn. And you're used to struggle in some way. And it probably takes a toll on you. You could get sick, your body is... But usually you have climbed a mountain. Usually you've done something. And giving up is just not an option like that. But again, I want to say, become very clear on what it is you're trying to achieve and for what reason. Because there can be, you could say, there can be goals that are really in alignment with your authenticity, right? And then there can be other goals that just look good in the world. It's fashionable, or it's successful at the moment, or it's it's a buzzword, or it feeds into some kind of narrative. But you become clear on your real goals, right? So I get this feeling that there is when I sit down and make my intentions for the readings, I always ask for the highest best, the highest good, the most abundant, what is like of help at this moment for Capricorns in achieving the highest best, the highest good, the highest. And I believe this is here, right? But then it may not be exactly what you see as your highest good, And therefore we need the drivers. We need to understand why this is the highest good. We need to understand what drives this. Again, if you are on a spiritual journey, you feel like you are on your own pilgrimage, trying to search or figure something out, then this would make sense, because sometimes we are asked in spiritual awakenings to change our ways, to understand things from a different perspective. It's like there is another voice in the midst that is suddenly mingling with all our beliefs, everything we have worked for, and it's suddenly questioning everything. And therefore what is here may be, a bit far out there. Like it could be this feeling that, but that is not what I am working for, or that is not how I see myself, that is not who I am, right? But then we have the drivers here that are telling us why is this, or how is it showing up in your life. So I'm going to have a look at the center card. So I have this is the deck of the Divine Feminine. And it means that I will primarily have feminine depictions here, feminine pictures. And that is, of course, a sense of limitation. But for some reason, I feel like it goes with the fact that the darkness is usually associated with the feminine. In the yin and yang symbol with the white and black, the dark element is the yin and the white element is the yang. The yin is the feminine side. And I said earlier something about becoming friend with the feminine. What happens in winter? Well, if we look at Earth, the feminine, and we talk about Gaia being our mother, right? The Earth is our Earth Mother. We are a product of her. She provides something for us. But in wintertime, it seems like she is a bit absent, right? It seems like she has turned cold in some way. From an Earth perspective, what happens is that it's like the energy from the trees retrieve back into the roots. And it seems like everything is withering. But it is on the surface, it's withering, but underneath Earth, it's, you could say, it's rejuvenating the batteries. And it's because it works with the sun. When there's no sun, it's difficult for Earth to thrive like that. We may have the same feeling. Without the sun, we may feel, winter depression, the mood goes a bit down, and so on. So we work with that energy as well. The earth reaction to less sun is that she retrieves back into herself. You could say she retrieves the energy back under the surface to harvest it and save it until the springtime comes back where there is more sun. Then she starts again. It's the same energy. So what I feel like could be here is the feeling of work with your season. Become more aligned with what your season offers you. It offers you, yes, time for efficiency and focus, but also time to retrieve in and rejuvenate and save some of your energy for the right time, right? Save the energy for when the sun is there. Save the energy for until the time is right to sprout again, right? Save some of that energy, make a good plan, figure this out, analyze this. You're the oldest earth sign. You have all the knowledge you have from Taurus and Virgo. You already have that available. Now you're learning to use some of those skills in a very hostile environment. Or it may seem like it is, right? But there's something to be gathered, I feel like, in the little amount of efficiency you put into something, doing something, and then relaxing. Because your amount of energy is less than Taurus. Taurus is born in the springtime. It's the youngest earth sign. Usually Taurus are equipped with quite solid muscle power. Their bodies, they can work for many, 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 many hours. You're not the same, Capricorn. You're the oldest. You could see yourself as Taurus are the young. This is the teenager, right? And you are the elderly. So you have to, do differently with your energy. Does that make sense? It's like becoming very focused on what it is you're trying to achieve in the most efficient, maybe less physical way. That's why the feminine is here, I feel like. It's like figure out how to use this feminine, and the feminine energy can be about dreams. It's the darkness. This is where we sleep. It's visualization processes. It manifestation processes. It's dreaming about something and putting those dreams into some kind of plan that is very efficient and effective. Taking your time to investigate. Taking your time to seek out or, investigate about the right people to involve, perhaps. The right network of people. The right that can truly help you in that limited amount of time you have available. Or the limited amount of time you choose to be physically active, Seek that right environment, the right network of people, the right efficiency income stream, perhaps, or something. It has to fit you, right? In the long run, not just only, for 10 years, where you put in a lot of hard work, perhaps. It's something that is supposed to last longer than this. And from a very clever perspective, right? And I feel like the feminine is here because, well, we live in the world that favor the masculine. And it means that most of us live in masculine energy. We have to. That's how society works. If we are not, doing something, if we are not educating ourselves, participating, doing something, talking, networking, always involved, always ready, always on always, getting the wheels moving here. If we are not always active in some way, we could end up behind everyone else. We could end up lost. We could end up in the gutter. We have to move with the movement. We have to go with the flow of everything. So we become very masculine, all of us. Even the most feminine signs become masculine. It's just a part of like the society we live in, at least at the moment, right? But there's something to be found in the feminine part also, that we are not maybe using to its fullest potential for our highest best, for a better life, for more prosperity or abundance. Whatever that means. For Capricorns, I believe abundance is money. It's about what you can buy, what is securing you in some way. For other signs, abundance can be something else. It could be love, right? It could be fun or freedom. Where I believe that Capricorns are highly responsible. They are not afraid of responsibility and being, committed to something. That is not a threat in itself. It's part of the way to get to the goal. I just feel that there could be something in the feminine part that could be of help, but it's not what we are used to, right? Let's have a look at this. Interesting. So I get the cosmic egg, the divine feminine. I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. The cosmic egg. And it is the card that says divine feminine. This is an all-compensating divine feminine energy. I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever-expanding love. So whenever I see an egg, it's like an egg hasn't hatched yet. An egg has something in it that is potential life force. Or flame, or battery, whatever you want to call it, it's energy here. And it's a particular kind. It's not a masculine kind, this is a feminine kind. It's like you have an entire universe in you, encapsulated here, right? Encapsulated by your exterior, right? Your way, what people know about you. When people come around you, they meet your shell here. And your shell is protecting something. I said that, right? It's like we all have something in here that we are vitally always trying to protect. like it's a seed of something that has to survive and be passed on. It's a special survival gene of humanity. In your case, Capricorn, right? It represents a very specific flame. And how it operates is also very specific. It does things in a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's efficient. It's interesting how when I look at this card here, I really see the devil card in this, meaning that, like, this is you, right? And you have like a seriousness and a focus and a discipline that almost acts as your shell here. And then there's this red around it. The red for me can symbolize root chakra, the roots, like what your origin, your stardust origin, Capricorn, when it comes down to your DNA composition. It's like you originate from this, like you originate from a place where, as I said, it's like outside. It could be hostile, right? The root chakra for me represents, well, our roots, where we come from, our primary attachment. It's the way we, the environment we are born into. Most traumas sit or reside in the root chakra. Most hostilities, whatever you have experienced, sit here. They are here. But you see, it's like you are this egg here in the midst of maybe, I don't know, maybe your own root chakra, right? That you can be the egg here. You can be something that can survive here. It's almost like, I feel a little bit like a hidden seed, that you have something in you that is like a hidden seed. It is an ability to navigate very difficult realms here. It's a survival gene that is very tough, and it can have this very serious cloaked or closed off in exterior, because it has to, like it's the only way, right? It's the only way to navigate, navigate hostile environment, a meteor shower, right? You have to somehow become tough here to be able to do that. This is a bit like how I see you. You have a certain survival seed or flame here in you that is, it's embedded in you. Like, Saturn is all around you. You know that. It's like a DNA coding. And this is you. As I said, it's like how do Eskimos survive during a long, long, dark winter with nothing but their instinct, their navigation skills, their experience about the environment they live in. They have this tough, thick, brown skin, right? They have adapted to the environment. They can eat raw fish, They can, they have adapted in the way best possible, I think, to an environment that is not, yeah, as I said, human friendly. It's almost like you are a hybrid in some way. It takes something special to survive in an environment that is not human friendly. It takes, it's a bit like an astronaut. If you have to go into space, you have to have a shell, right? You have to need a special suit. You need to have oxygen with you, right? It's like you are equipped with a certain you are a seed with a particular tough shell, or an egg with a particular tough shell to break, right? That is one of your strengths here, that you, and again, it's because you're protecting something, right? It's vital to your, like if this just hatches, right? It won't hatch unless it is in an environment that actually lets it hatch and show its full potential. It's not coming out here. As long as it knows that this is not I stay here and I stick to my plan, I do everything I can to make this inside here thrive. My internal universe has to thrive. I'm doing everything I can to keep this vitalized, and that's why I say resting, rejuvenating. I say shield yourself perhaps from this outside world, the hostilities that could be around you, because it may persist. You don't know for how long, right? You adapt in some way. You become this egg that can somehow just pierce through this environment without any damage. That's how it's pretty much how I see Capricorn. It's like they become armored in some way. But it doesn't mean that you can't, be, on the inside. It doesn't mean that you can be a fluffy golden seed on the inside. You know that it's the tough exterior is maybe not a full presentation of you, right? I hold a universe within me. Think about that. Holding a universe could be, you could have like big dreams in here, right? You could dream of a better place. You could visualize a better place. You could, and when you allow that to flourish, it changes how you feel. Like there's something, I feel like a bit fluffy soft in here. Fluffy soft, which doesn't at all line up with the tough exterior you can have. Tough, focused, disciplined, almost military discipline here. What people may not know about Capricorns is that on the inside, it can be pretty different, right? It can be quite different. So this is something about your highest best, you could say. It could be the feeling that needing to armor up. Become clever here in how you use your energy. and stay true to your core here, no matter what the environment tells you. If you have as I said, a core passion here, if there's something like the goal I talked about, if you have some kind of goal in here, you become aware of what that truly is, the golden goal here for you. Maybe, maybe a goal that warms your heart, your core up. Something that is worth fighting for, something that is golden and well, golden could be literally gold. It could be something, like very abundant business deal here. But you protect that then. If you have a core in here that is trying to achieve a certain goal, you protect that from whatever is around you. You keep it, I don't know, maybe keeping it a secret for now. Because I say that this could be quite soft or fluffy, this could refer to the divine feminine here, that you do have dreams, right? You do have hopes, you do have maybe a vision for a better world, right? But the outside may not know. The outside may never figure this out because you have somehow built this steel-like shell around you. And you need to, I think, because there is so much around you here that potentially could break a thin little shell. So you have to armor up. That is protect that divine feminine in you, protect the fluffy softness in you, as I said, the dreams, the visions, the hopes, or the goal you have for something. If you don't know if your friends around you are going to support you, just keep it close to your heart, right? You nurture that. You keep it intact. You keep it alive. And you go for it. No matter what the environment around you may mirror to you or say to you. That's what I feel like. It could be interesting to see what the driver for this is, like the feeling of needing to armor up or keep something secret, or keep that, that the feminine part of you, could be something you're working with, in secret, or something that you're trying to keep something alive or let it evolve, like from being a very little seed to becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's like it takes up pretty much space here on the card, right? Let's say it has been very little once, and there was a lot of red here, and now it's like it becomes bigger and bigger, and a bit like a balloon, right? So it pushes away some of the problems, perhaps. The more you focus on something here that is golden to you, like it's abundant, it's beautiful, maybe it's lighthearted or fun or easy, or maybe even efficient, if we have to. It could be that you're focusing more on your achievements than your failures, that the more you focus on the golden you, and the more kind you are to yourself with the feminine here, the more golden you see yourself, the more you support yourself, the more you armor up and push away the things that are trying to maybe, challenge you in some way or threaten you. The driver for this is, she is called Fatima, the mother of Imams. Love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. again, I get this feeling of like when you look at this, right? I feel a similarity when I look at this. It's like she is standing there with such light and such beauty, and then she is surrounded by this red thing here. And there are scriptures and stuff and symbols and something around her here, right? Like this. It's like you are this golden seed of, well, it says imams. I don't know, it could be something with religion. But I feel more like it's it's like being a beacon of light in the midst of hostility. Being a beacon of golden light in the midst of hostility. Or in the midst of something that is not necessarily liking your light here. Does that make sense? And still staying there. Sometimes when we are surrounded with like problems, it's like nowhere, it doesn't seem like nowhere you're turning, you get the same answer. You get the same no. You get the same hostility. You don't get the support. I said that in the beginning, and now my ear is ringing. Like if you don't get the support, it can be difficult to hold on to your seat here, to hold on to that light. It could be the feeling that I'm just this little seed, and now the tsunami of hostility comes in. How am I supposed to keep this alive, right? How am I supposed to trust in it also? It's like everything that comes towards me just is like this hungry beast that wants to eat me, right? Or devour me in some way. So how do I keep this light alive? My surviving light here. I feel like the feminine aspect can actually help you. Like I said, the world is quite masculine and it feels quite hostile. It's maybe you have more of a feminine core than you think. One of the ways that you actually keep yourself going is by trusting the feminine part of you. As I said, you are surrounded with a lot of darkness, meaning that there is not much sunlight. You are primarily with the feminine, actually. She is your biggest guide. Even if it's cold and hostile, she asks you, again, as Gaia does, it retrieves the energy into the earth. And it keeps it there, right? For the right opportunity. It's like, don't engage with something here. Use your precious energy, your beautiful precious energy down here. Use it wisely, right? Use it only when you are sure that it's actually going to be beneficial. Make your homework. Research. Sit with the computer. Study. Figure something out. Make the homework. Check Trustpilot. All this stuff. And I think you would do. Like, that is very Capricorn-like. To seek, like, the secure, good solution, right? Because there is a limited, or at least a feeling of a limited access, or there is a narrow path to this success, right? Constantly surrounded by obstacles. So you're like the focus and diligent and discipline towards something has to be very, I feel like, safe or worth it, and worth it and safe or organized and planned and not a random choice, right? That's not how you work, I believe, right? That's not how. It just simply doesn't make sense for Capricorn to take that bold chances like that. It's not. But you will take a chance, or you will go for something if you feel like you have actually managed to, like examined all the things you can around this. Then you would take a move. Then you would make a move. And for some reason, I feel like with Saturn in the midst, it's like you are. The universe of you here is about finding, you could say, positivity in the midst of the darkness. Finding something that is of use, that is eatable, that is nurturing to you, that is beneficial to you in the midst of all this. You could say Christmas is a time where we as humans, we try to make the best out of the dark time. We light the world, right? We put, Christmas lighting out there. We turn the candles on, right? We light the candles. We create scenarios. We create scenarios or narratives that is supportive of us in the midst of a darkness. For Christmas is a time of gratitude and love, like the giving and receiving of presents, the gathering, the coming together for the Christmas dinner. The sweet greetings in the Christmas cards. It's a time of appreciation. That's what I feel like Capricorn also is. That in the midst of all this, there are good times. There are good possibilities to gather. Like you could be the storyteller of this, right? You could be, someone who makes, you could say, who gathers. I feel like that is also the fact for Capricorn, that you are actually, you try to gather good. Yeah, you try to gather good memories, to keep the dreams alive, to keep the lantern lit, you could say. It's important to keep the lantern lit. It's to have a cozy home, perhaps. It has to be because there's so much else out there that is really not very nice. So I'm making my own universe here with the things that I gather, these memories. I hold on to the pictures, perhaps, to tradition, to like family tradition. The gathering of family at Christmas time, the homemade meal, from maybe gathered resources. I don't know, but things that were harvested, and then it has been, I don't know, fermentized, or like if you do fermentation or something, to make something last, to make it go through the winter. Conversation of or like finding ways to, I know in old times they use salt to preserve, preserve food. Smoking food, right, is also a way of preserving something. So there's something preserving. You have a way to preserve things. You could be a seed or you could be into preservation, like preserving something. Maybe you're very good at this, preserving a cozy Christmas home. Like the cave you live in is like your preserved universe of light or warmth. Does that make sense? Like it's important to preserve that in you. That is like a core thing that you hold on to, maybe tradition, Christmas dinners, family gathering. Again, the proactive deed up till this Christmas time of harvesting and planning and buying things and maybe doing like the home cooking of, preserving vegetables or greens or something. Does that make sense? Something like there is something preserved in here. Again, the preserving is also what Mother God does when it retrieves her. It preserves her energy, right? It's keeping it. I get almost like a feeling of a treasure box, right? It's like there's something preserved maybe in you here that you may not even be aware of. I feel like I want to take, because I don't know much about imams and I don't know much about feminine imams, the mother of imams, the mother of an imam. I feel like I want to look in the book because it's a card that there is such light here and such beauty and such wideness and even a bit of iridescent. It's almost like she's transparent. Like her clothing is a bit transparent, like she's there but not there. Like a love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. Yeah, gratitude. I feel like that is part of Christmas also, right? That this because the time is cold and can seem harsh and so on in many ways, that if we can sit and hold a gratitude, if we can sit and be grateful for the things that we have, for the things that are actually available, in a time where things can seem scarce, where things can seem, frightening or fearful or something. I feel that is I think that is a big thing actually. So now I'm trying to find her here. Fatima. So this is also like a, like a sign that, first of all, I get this feeling that she is surrounded by something red here, right? But and almost a bit like she is iridescent or like a bit transparent in her clothing. It's like she's it's like she's here but not here. A bit like an angelic or a presence that is here but not here. It's get almost a feeling of it's coming. Like she's here but she's not here. It's like an energy that is almost not here. I said in the beginning, or I said that the world we live in is very masculine. Like it's a I also said that the feminine, like the feminine energy is usually the dark. Like the dark is our dreams, it's visualizations, it's hopes. And because it's in this world, it's in the world of what I call non-form. It has you can't touch it. Your dreams, your hopes, your visualizations, it's all in your mind or in your heart. It's a non-form that is not there yet. It hasn't manifested yet. It's not quite there yet. It's and because this is a driver card, I feel like maybe you have been trying to manifest a bit more of this femininity into your life, like the feminine realm of dreams and hopes, and the feelings of gratitude, the feelings of love, the feelings of hope, the feelings of peace on earth. But it's not, we see it in the world that it's not there yet, but still tuning into it, like still sitting with it, choose to focus on that, right? Choose to focus on some of this instead of something else that may want to enter your life, because this is still there. It's still, it's still part of your life, but yeah, that's what I feel like. She's a bit like transparent to me. She's there but not there. Love is my lineage, right? Again, you're the seed of something here, Capricorn. You're the seed of this beautiful golden light here, of gratitude and love, and because you know this, right? You know this. I believe, and this is maybe one of the things that is the difference between what our ego wants and what is maybe actually in your heart. Because you know this, like of all the signs, you are the one who knows about hostility. You know what this is like. Standing there, maybe alone without support. You know what it means to break through something. To have a breakthrough. To maybe have success with something. In a hostile, unsupportive environment. You know what that's like. And I think that if you can, if you actually think about it, you know about gratitude. You know about the little things that have helped you along the way. You can be grateful for your intuition. You can be grateful for your seed that has been guiding you. Maybe it's even stubbornness. Maybe it's even your never giving up, right? You can find gratitude for that even. You can find gratitude for this antenna, this signal that guides you when there is no guiding light. That there's some, you hold on to something here for dear life, and you go towards it, right? That is the Capricorn essence. And you know that it's going to be like, I'm piercing through the winter, right? I'm piercing through winter. And I'm doing it because I can, and because I'm armored too, and because it's worth it, right? It's worth it. What it is that I'm trying to achieve here is worth it. That's why I muster my power here. That's why I take this action, but I'm only doing it when I know my enemy. I have adapted to it, right? I know the hostility, and I know how to pierce through this anyway, safely. It's like a space shuttle that is trying to pierce the atmosphere. We know that it's going to burn on the outside. The atmosphere is very hostile. And when it actually gets out of the atmosphere and drops onto Earth, we can see how burned it is, right? We can see how hostile, that it has to navigate through something that was very aggressive, right? That's almost how I see this. Like, you're this space shuttle that is in a constant atmosphere fire. That's how strong you are. That's how persistent you are of keeping your shuttle alive, right? You're used to this shit. Sorry, but you're used to this stuff. Like, this is not to be like, this is serious matter for a Capricorn. And people may not understand. I understand. I understand what this feels like. And if you get out of the atmosphere, if you break through that atmosphere and you land on Earth, it's like, this is Eden, right? This is easy, right? This is what's the problem, right? There's no fire here, right? It's like this is easy then. But until you get that breakthrough, it feels like you are in this constant fire of like the atmosphere. Please let me know if you resonate with this. But you see, it's like and it's because it's worth it. Like, you're in this fire because it's worth it for you. There's something vital to be saved or to fight for here. And you have to be clever about it, right? You have to use that energy right of yours. And for somehow I feel like with this card, it's this like transparent. It's like an incoming energy that you're working with here. Maybe trying to manifest, but it's still in this making, like a making phase. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Let's see what the book says here. Fatima embodies the love and fulfillment that comes from living in a state of gratitude. Fatima Fatima bint Muhammad was born in the early 7th century and is the only child of Khadija and the Prophet Muhammad to live into adulthood. She is associated with the title the mother of her father because she cared for Muhammad after her mother died. She is an object of veneration, love, and respect for all Muslims because she supported her father through all of his difficulties. She was a devoted wife and mother of 2 sons and 2 daughters. Her descendants are spread throughout the Islamic world. To the Shiites, she is particularly significant because she was married to Ali, the Prophet Muhammad's cousin. Ali is considered by Shiites to be a legitimate heir to Muhammad's teachings. Fatima's many children are considered then the rightful inheritors of Islam. An imam is a leader of the Islamic faith, and Fatima is considered to be the mother of imams because of the love and gratitude she gave to her family. There are many stories about her devotion and the unfaltering love she provided in order to protect them. She never failed to defend what was sacred to her. It is said that Fatima stood up to Muhammad's successor, Abu Bakr, because she didn't feel that he was honoring her father's legacy in the way he had hoped. She lived with great stability because she knew that her love for her family gave her a solid foundation, identity, and clarity of purpose. So, and then there is another passage here that says, when your soul selects her card, we can get caught up in the ego's idea of who we need to become or what we need to achieve. Like, this is exactly what I felt initially, right? Fatima is the grace that swept through our seemingly complex lives and reminds us of what's core. This is what I talked about, isn't it? What's solid earth to the soul? Family, even if family means a few beloved friends. What matters most is the love and gratitude we bring to those who are there for us, and the love and gratitude we feel when they show up for us. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Like, being without support it's difficult for a child, right, to grow up in. So when someone shows you gratitude, when someone actually is supportive, you know, right? You will become aware of it, become grateful for the little things I said, right? Nurturing, protecting, and taking care of the ones we love is a sacred occupation. My great-grandmother, Big Margie, advised me that if I ever had children, I needed to make sure I got paid for it. I had no clue what she was talking about. The idea was so foreign. Big Margie believed that women should have a wage for the time they spent raising children, so that their work would at last be valued. The role of housewife or of stay-home moms is sacred if it's consciously chosen. It is a profound contribution to raise and constitute the world. There is a legacy of love that can be inherited by the whole family from such undivided attention and presence. Fatima restores the significance and importance to the spiritual path of motherhood. Fatima is also a call to step back, take a deep breath, and take inventory of how much you can be grateful for right now in this moment. She releases you from unreal expectations of yourself, whether you have mothered a child, a friend, or yourself. Fatima helps you see again the vital role the nurturer provides. She offers the perspective that says love is the family we all belong to, and gratitude is the state of wealth we get to live in. Yeah, that's a bit of a statement here, right? But again, you see, it's like, well, somehow I feel like when I look at this card now and with Fatima here, it's like that the divine feminine is definitely present here, right? That this idea of motherhood, how the feminine is, the feminine role of motherhood, or stay-at-home moms, or devoted housewives, or how you may see it, it all ends up with the fact: is this a chosen thing for you? Is it something that you truly want? Is it something you truly feel for? Is this, I believe in the world, this is something that is not like the effect of this, the value of this is not really appreciated. It's taken for granted that mothers are nice mothers. It's taken for granted how devoted she must be to her children. It's taken for granted. It's like receiving wages for bringing up your child is, well, I don't think that is a thing, right? It's not really, it's just like expected. Like, well, if not maybe getting wages for it, then at least getting, a sense of value, dignity, respect maybe. Like there are certain cultures that do that more than others. But you could say being a mother is quite a lot of work. It requires a lot of a person, a woman, to care for each individual. Not just give them a roof over their head, but actually care and nurture their individual identities, their individual, hearts and desires. It takes quite a lot, and this is where I feel, because when she's iridescent here or somewhat transparent, it's, one of the features of a mother is that she sometimes sets herself aside to be fully present for someone else. It means that she becomes a bit less, like her the way she could take up the space, the way she could, fill up the room with her aura, her beliefs, her ideas, her needs, her convictions. When the mother steps into the mother role, she actually takes some of this, she retrieves it back in and lets something else take up the space. Something else now becomes maybe important. She lets it become important. She lets it, grow and take space. She lets it show its colors. She lets it, she lets it be alongside her, but she's not taking up the space. She's not becoming dominant. Well, some mothers do, but this one, she's not, right? She's more like this transparent, or I want to say less dense. Like the density of her would make her more visible. She becomes less dense here. That's why she seems a bit like she's there, but she's not there, you know? She's there, but she's not there. And what you see most from her is this light of hers in the center of her heart here. Like that is the most you see from her. But this should be a choice that is made, you know, a conscious choice. It should be, you know, if this is really authentic, it should come from a deep place within you, right? A deep place where you feel this is my calling. This is truly what I am. I am a mother, or I am at least harboring. I have this inside me. This is one of the true values of me. You know, I'm not necessarily a big fan of promoting any kind of religion on my channel. This is all up to you. But now the cards talk here about Islam. It talks about the mother role maybe of Islam, the devotion. I don't know much about this, but I get the point of that the status of a mother should be high. Like the status of what it is that she's doing, what it is that she's trying to do when she raises a child, when she makes herself available for other children, her children, other children, it's a noble deed, but it seldom has respect, right? It's considered, you know, something just to be taken for granted. So think about this for a moment. If the man goes to work, he would not do that work unless he gets paid. So for a woman, if her work is being a mother and staying at home, why shouldn't she be, you know, rewarded, or why shouldn't she be paid for the things she does? Like, why not? I think one of the things that I know there are stay-at-home fathers. But a general theme would say that the man would go outside the home, do something, get the wages, and come back. For a Capricorn woman, being maybe a stay-at-home mom, or I think it would be important for her to be it's important to be seen for what it is that she's actually doing. What it is she puts her effort into. Because you are an earth sign. It's about value. It's about, well, maybe money. It's about, you know, earthy things matter. It's not enough, I think, that a man comes home and says, "Oh, honey, I'm home. Oh, nice, you've made the dinner." And then he sits down and eats the dinner. I think, like it's like if you're surrounded by something that doesn't see your golden value, the effort you put into something, it's not the right environment, and therefore you need to build up that armor, right? But you could, I don't know if there is something about this that maybe like this could suggest the golden heart of yours, right? That you are trying to preserve here. Even though there are hostile environments, making a good home, even though there are struggle around you, for your children perhaps, working hard for this. And like, well, seeking a sense of validation maybe, right? That what I'm doing is of value. What I'm doing is like I raise the next generation. I put in all my effort here to be able to raise the next generation. To matter. It's important to matter for Capricorns, I think. That what you're doing actually matters. And that it's seen in the world. Being a housewife and being a stay-at-home mom is, in my book, one of the most noble jobs. But it's not seen in the world, right? It's expected. Like choosing to become a stay-at-home mom is like a well, I believe it's different in different cultures. But in many cultures, I think it's a given that when you are pregnant and you have children, it's a given that you just stay there and do that. It's a given that you quit your job perhaps and do that. It's a given that and therefore now you're not earning the money. It's important to feel that you matter in some way. And if it's not, like, if the surrounding world doesn't see what it is you're trying to do, how much heart you put into this, it's like you're definitely in the wrong environment, right? You're definitely in an environment that just takes it for granted. There was another thing about this when I was reading. It said something about that she was the mother of her father. The mother of her father. She associated with the title the mother of her father because she cared for Muhammad after her mother died. So you see, here we can have a situation where a child now becomes like that. A child has to take over a mother role. Mothering her father is not a normal role for a young girl, for instance, right? It would be then she also gives up, sacrifices some of her own youth or even childhood. And here now we have this pattern of what I called in the book here it says it's a beautiful divine thing, right? But for a young girl to become now a constantly loving and devoting, well, it has to be worth it then, right? It has to be the right father. It has to be a father that actually is a prophet. As it says in the book, he should be worth it, right? Whom I give my attention to should be worth it. It should be a connection of love. It should be a connection of respect and care. It should be that. Otherwise, it's not worth it. There's also another thing when I look at this. It's like this thing about the signs here around her. It kind of reminds me about scriptures, or maybe religious scriptures. I don't know. It doesn't have to be, but it could be fashion trends in the world. It could be anything that is kind of dictating your behavior in some sense. And staying, like pure to your own energy, even though there is all of this stuff around you, right? That there's all this stuff around you that tries to impact you in some way. But you stay in it's like finding dignity in the world and value in a world that doesn't value you, right? That doesn't seem to value what it is you're trying to do, or what it is you are working for, or what you are invested in. But I feel like building it. Like she is still a bit transparent here, so I feel like it's a driver. Like it's a voice that is building in you, right? It's a voice that is building in you to become really solid and strong and armored here, so that you can go out there and you can still maintain that golden heart of yours, even if there's all these critics, or there are different expectations of you, different values than you have. It's like you become this missile that can just pierce through all this garbage, right? No matter. It's like becoming bulletproof, I feel like, a bit. Seeking to become bulletproof here. So that you can go out there and you can keep that core of yours, devoted to whatever cause you feel is worthy. And whatever that is, maybe it's a certain work line, maybe it's religion, maybe it's a person, taking care of an elderly whom you actually love here, right? Whom you respect, and it's worth it, right? Angel of strength, yes, definitely. It takes an angel of strength here to be in a hostile environment that probably goes against your values, that doesn't see what it is you're trying to do, or what it is that you're calling for. Like, I feel like to be in an environment like this would be a bit like I think I almost, did I do that? If you can scroll back, and when I was reading this, I almost grinned myself, right? Where was it? It was something like, when I was reading this about, make sure you get your wages if you have children, right? Something like that. There was something about the... It says here, nurturing, protecting, and taking care of the ones we love. The ones we love. Not the ones we are forced to love or dictated to love or something like that. But nurturing, protecting, and taking care of the ones we love is a sacred occupation. My great-grandmother, Big Margie, advised me that if I ever had kids, I needed to make sure I got paid for it. I actually believed I grinned here because it seems so strange to me. But she has a point, doesn't she? Right? It's I had no clue what she was talking about. The idea was so foreign. Exactly. The idea was so foreign. That's not something you get paid for. But why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be? Big Margie believed that women should have a wage for the time they spent raising children so that their work would at last be valued. The role of housewife and a stay-at-home mom is sacred if it's consciously chosen. It's a profound contribution to raise and constitute the world. It is. Think about it. What would the world be without mothers? So, maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you agree with what was she called? Big Margie here, right? Maybe you actually agree with her. What I do matter and I should be rewarded for it, or I should at least be valued for it. It shouldn't be taken for granted or, like seen as a secondary job or a secondary... It's not even considered a job, is it? It's considered just something you do. So, like to maybe, I don't know, break out of or become a voice, I don't know, a voice here, right? A snow piercer, in the sense that your voice has to be, again, I feel like a missile here. It has to be bulletproof in the sense that when you speak here, when you hatch this cosmic egg of yours, it has to be bulletproof, meaning that if you start speaking your truth, it will require a lot of strength here to build up this bulletproof seed of yours, that what you are actually advocating for is value. That you are advocating for a certain value here. May have to do with motherhood, the stay-at-home mom, because the wages, for keeping the house and raising the children would make her, it raises the value up of her. So she becomes a little more equal with the man. It's now it's a conscious choice if it comes from your love. But again, a man can do what he loves. He could have a passion and build something with that passion. So he's doing what he loves and earns his money by that. What if the woman does the same with her children? His children. Shouldn't that... I get it. I get why Big Margie actually is argumenting for this, right? That she's saying to again level out the playing field between man and woman is a way of, like negotiation, right? But I love this and you love that. Great. So let's get the best out of it. It's just a stay-at-home mom with no wages, no income as such. She is in a vulnerable position if the man leaves her. If she was paid for her contribution, you could say, she would have an income, staying home, taking care of her kids. She would be compensated for her effort in raising a new generation with certain values. But it's like it's a given. It's just something that... And I believed I actually did that. If you scroll back, I'm pretty sure I grinned when I was reading this. Because, again, the idea was so foreign. That's not how it's seen, right? It's like a mother just loves her children, and of course she will take care of them. It's a given. It's expected. But we also know that some mothers are not and would never consciously choose to become stay-at-home moms. It's not in their blood. They hate it, right? But for those who do, for those who that their heart loves this, bleeds for this, like they take this task on as a life purpose, that should be treasured. That should be valued. That is a golden heart. Right? It should be, I believe it should be valued. I believe they should be paid to do that. This is not a given in a world full of hostility. And therefore, I believe, again, Capricorns, if you look back in time and there has been someone in your life who was there for you, who loved you and cared for you and gave you a hug and cheered for you, you would be appreciative of that. Because you know what it feels like not to have much of it. That is the difference, right? That for some it's a given to have a beautiful, giving, loving mother. And for others it's scarce. And then you become more aware when you actually feel it, hear it, experience it. It's something to be very grateful for. And I believe Capricorns are like one of the signs that can truly appreciate this. But it takes strength to become, bulletproof here. Maybe it takes strength, to choose to become a stay-at-home mom, right? Because you were not raised to be that. You were raised to become a successful something. So it's going against the stream here also. Maybe, Take it how it resonates. It could be the other way around. Maybe you were raised to be a good housewife and you choose a career instead, right? It's still this idea that you are in a place that doesn't support your your choices here. And there's this feeling of like needing to build this inner sense of security and support, like your own self-care, building that inner mother that is truly supporting you, that is truly there for you. Building that voice, you could say here, that is truly supporting you to be who you are here. But it takes strength here. And maybe that's why I felt this feeling of like the batteries, like becoming very aware how you can do this and not wear yourself out, right? That you take time to build this, right? It may take time to be bulletproof here. The front picture for my readings this time around show these hands here, right? That kind of hold you. And then there's this clock in the middle. And it is a picture of what I call divine timing or God's speed. That God holds you in his hands here. And then something is going on here that, it may take a while. This bulletproofness that you may be seeking here is, maybe it may take a while, right? And you are in the process of now building this inner voice that is going to help you to become bulletproof here. It's in making. As I said, it's here, but it's not here yet, right? It's here, but it's not quite here yet. It's in making. It's driving a process forward of becoming, like strong enough or armored enough to like show who you are here, even if there is hostility, like to speak up like Big Margie did here, right? That I want wages for taking care of my children. I want wages for cooking dinner, cleaning the home, right? Like a cleaning lady, she is being paid for cleaning other people's homes, but not her own. It's like, and a man would never go out there, pursue some kind of job and not getting wages for it. Like, this is quite seldom, right? He's the provider. He looks for money. Of course he does. He is not getting himself involved in something where he potentially and knowingly just, puts in his effort free. Well, maybe for friends and family, but otherwise he's looking for the money. But housewives, stay-at-home moms are expected to do 8, 10, 12, 16 hours of labor at home, but with no pay. And not even status or respect or value, So there could be a point of this, like maybe what you have here is a message that you want to, say. Maybe there's a message here that you actually want to bring forth, but you have to armor up. You have to be bulletproof to actually put it out there. So the driver for this strength here, we have action card for this strength. For building this strength here, right? And when I see this card, well, of course there are horses. But this always reminds me a little bit about the yin and yang symbol again, like this idea of how that there are opposites in this world. Today it comes across as, how the yang is always ahead of the yin. How the yang, I've said it before, that we live in a masculine favored world. That the masculine is favored here. Like everything that has to do with doer, energy, success, taking action, being active, being strong, being up there, being, vibrant and everything. This is favored. Where the feminine is not favored. It's seen as a downhill. It's weaker, right? It's seen as weak. It's seen as not as productive, not as reliable, not as that the feminine is you even know when people retire from work, right? The reason why they retire is because they have gotten to a certain age. They can't keep up maybe with the workload, the stress, or the vitality. They need to move quicker. They can't have bad knees or backs, or they can't have back injuries or other kinds of stuff. They have to retire because it's done, right? And what happens after this retirement? Well, people usually go into a bit more of a feminine mode here. They slow down. They have less to do. Some still do things, right? But they slow down. Eventually, becoming older and older, they will slow really much down. They will sit or lay. They will eventually get to a state of becoming extremely feminine, and sometimes even less dense. They lose weight. They don't eat as much. Some can, before transitioning, before dying, they can actually, if this is old age, they can lose muscle power. It's a part of the aging process that you lose muscle power. You become less dense, actually. You become more like her here, right? You become ready to transition. We enter into a phase of feminine, of a feminine state. Some become more, they sit more, they are alone more. They sit with their own thoughts. They sit with their own being. They tune more in. Some people become more, they speak to. Sometimes they speak to ancestors. Sometimes they become more religious. It's a different phase of life. So I don't know if there's some kind of message about the feminine here, that there's being an advocate or an ambassador for the feminine energy, but also knowing that if I bring this forth, it's going to be like a missile. I'm actually opening war, I'm going against the stream here. I will not, it will not be popular, because I'm asking, I'm asking for the feminine to be valued like the masculine. It's like the masculine is always ahead. That men are sometimes favored for certain jobs, right? The wages are higher, there's this idea that like the feminines or the women are not as, like they can't have the same status somehow, or respect, or earnings, or wages, or maybe terms, work terms or something like that. So let's have a look at this. The next cards out here is gracious receptivity. Look at this, like receptivity is a feminine trait. Like the feminine is a receiver, the masculine is a giver, right? So that there could be something about the receptivity, and it actually takes strength to become more receptive here, or to own your femininity. If let's say you choose a feminine work line or something, you stand in that, and you stand with this power, owning that. Like, she is owning the fact that she is a mother here, that she's taking care of, you could say, her father, her children, her wife, her husband. She takes honor in that. She stands in that light. This is how she receives, recognition and respect, and she has chosen this. This is who she is, right? But to do that and stand with that dignity, straighten your back, owning that this is who I am, and this cannot be debated. Like, if someone comes and is debating whether you are valuable in this society or not, she would stand up for her right here. She would argue for her importance here, just as much as the yang. I've said before on my channel something about, well, how much value does the mother get for her care for her children, the calming of her children when they have hurt their knee, or when they have been fighting at school and they get home and they cry and they are upset, and mom nurtures them and comforts them. How much does he get? How is he compensated for this? She could choose not to care. She could choose that, right? She could choose not to care. It's not the mother we expect. It's not the mother we want, right? But she could do that. She could choose not to care. She could choose to turn her chin and just walk away. Not her problem. But she doesn't, does she? Right? Normally they don't, right? Well, maybe you grew up without such mother, and therefore you know how valuable it is. If you grew up without such mother, and you have felt unsupported all your life, not nurtured, not comforted, not cheered for, not supported, not guided, not held, not comforted. If you have grown up without that, you know how valuable it is, and how much you would have what you would have done to have it, right? And that's what I feel like. If people have grown up without it, without any kind of comfort, without that motherly feeling from someone, I'm not saying it should be your biological mother, but from someone, and you have been in, without it, the importance of it. And if someone shows you just a bit of this, you would be grateful, right? You would be grateful. The armoring here could be because of it, right? Because you feel that the world has only been a hostile place. So learning receptivity, building this universe in you of gratitude and love here, well, it takes a bit to do that, right? To break out of those, the competition, to break out of the competition maybe here, to choose not to compete, or to choose not to do that, or not to be a masculine, not pretend to be a masculine, right? That you actually are a feminine here. I feel like I must be talking to a Capricorn who feels feminine somehow. And because of that, it's learning gracious receptivity here. Learning about that, what that means. And breaking down, like an angel of strength here is definitely needed to help you break down masculinity. Because this is the way we protect ourselves. It's not a normal choice to break that down. What is the driver for this? So I get harmonic flight. Again, you see yin and yang here. Like I get, it's a balance that you need somehow. Again, if you have become very masculine, maybe you need a bit of femininity here to level out the playing field, but actually your playing field. Like you need a sense of inner kindness, maybe. The inner mother here. Like I see like these are driver cards. So this is not a coincidence that both of them symbolize something about opposites here. It's about a balance, a universal balance. The message or what you are building here for some reason. I don't know what this is, but it could be a home, it could be a sense zone. It could be the feeling of maybe a dream of yours, I don't know, a place maybe here, where something kind shines through, right? Something that is of a kindness. Because you know what it means to be without it, right? That is the Saturn thing for you. I think that you know what it means to be without it, and therefore it matters to you. So because you didn't have it, or because it was scarce, like breadcrumbing experiences, you know what it means when someone actually shows up like that for you. But when you're not used to it, sometimes we armor up, we get used to doing everything on our own. We get used to, we expect hostility, right? So we know that we have to become adaptable and strong and vibrant and everything on our own to make it. And we get very, adaptable. We learn stuff because we know we have to take care of ourselves. Nobody really supports you in that way. So it takes strength to armor up, but it also takes strength to de-armor again. It takes strength to be part of the competition here, always with the yang ahead of you, but it also takes strength to let them run like that. Let them run, and you stop running. Like the yang here, it's like if we participate in the competition here, they always get like an insensitive to keep running, like to keep up being a racehorse here. But what if you are not there to compete with them? Like if you are not here, they are now running alone. There's nobody to run against them. It's not going to be the same for them. But because you have been there playing that game, they have been keep running. But if you slow down, you even leave the field here. They are now running on their own, which makes no sense, right? So it's something about knowing when to maybe compete or fight for something, or when not to. And are you actually a competitive person, or are you not? I feel like there's something about competition here. Who is going to win, or who is the strongest, and if I can keep you running, if this one can keep this one running and trying to keep up, or trying to, be part of this race somehow, then it's fun, because this one is equipped, right? They have stronger muscles. They have the yang do have that. So competing with yang for a yin it doesn't make sense. Like the feminines are not made in the same way. The combination or the DNA is different. Some feminines do not even like competition. Some feminines are peacemakers. They don't care about competition. And here I'm not talking about women. I talk about feminines, right? Because deep down the feminine is like, what drives the feminine is something entirely different. It has nothing to do with competition. Love is her lineage. Becoming more acquainted with the feminine energy it is probably what is going to, get a more harmonic flight here. Going through life without feminine energy is a harsh world of competition. Always. Always competition. So it ends up having everything to do with your adaptation, your qualities to be in the game. As I said with the football player, a professional football player, you have to be able to keep up your pace here. Otherwise, someone else comes and just takes over. The new younger generation comes and takes over, right? Because they are more fit. They are very athletic. They are top fit, tuned, and you now become the one that is sacking here and is not. You can't keep up the pace, right? For some reason, I feel like there is something about in this reading, something about whether competition is actually what you want. Is it good for you or is it not? Are you fit for that competition or not? Maybe this is, it represents, like the last drop or the last bullet before retirement, or I put the last effort in before, something else. I feel like a message here, like maybe a message that I choose to preserve my energy and maybe do something else. Preserving the energy is more feminine. Preserving the energy is more feminine. Like I'm like the colors don't match either, right? It's like I'm a drop of feminine in a masculine ocean. So in order for me to stay here, I have to armor up, or I'm de-armoring, but the more I de-armor, the more I also feel the pressure of, or I may fear it, I'm going through this, and that takes strength to, either armor up or to de-armor. It's to stop the competition, to slow down and say, no, wait a minute, I don't want to be part of this. This is not what I want. It's becoming more clever about clever, but also attuned with who you are. Like, everything that has to do with love is not a competition. It's like the root of love it has nothing to do with that. It's a caring. It's a consideration. As I said, the mother puts herself aside to let her children shine, or to let her children have the best. This is a very common thing about mothers. They go grocery shopping, but for some reason they end up coming home with a bit new clothes for the children, but not for herself. She picks up maybe a few toys for her children, but not for herself. That is what this is, right? It's I feel like, like blowing up a balloon of, like growing more and more dignity and honor about who you are and how you are in this world, owning that love. And if people disrespect that and don't see it and don't see that value, it's like they can't be in your life, right? It's all around you, but it's like growing more and more of that inner value and honor. Like honor where you come from, stopping this competition, not interacting with something that doesn't value you, Value your core, value this golden heart of yours here. If people can't see this, if they don't honor it, if they don't respect it, and even if they can see that you demand value, right? That you are asking for value here. That a golden heart like this is worth a fortune, right? That is the universe you hold. And if people can see that, if people can honor that, if people won't support it, like why even bother? Why even try, right? Why just stop running, right? Just stop running. Stop trying to save them, perhaps. Stop trying to be there. This should be a conscious choice. The one you run with here, the one you play with here, should be someone who sees that, who honors that, who is respecting your energy, who knows also that we can't even play. I can't play without you. If you're not here, I have nobody to play with. There's nobody to run with. There's nobody to, It's about seeing eye to eye here, you could say. Seeing each other for different values, but knowing that we are in a constant spin with each other here. We are in a constant spin with each other. If you can't see my value, why should I see yours? You know, like again, it's also maybe this idea of look at me, right? Look at me. Look at what I am and what I'm trying to do. Respect my values, right? Because deep down you wouldn't have been you would if you had no mother. If you had no mother, you would have loved everything that I am. Opposites attract, right? Maybe that's the reason why someone found you, because the mother they had was maybe lacking, you know. I believe even in this world, mothering is scarce. Like it's limited. It's conditional. It is. And taking on the role of mother is, well, in this world, it's not a very desired job, I think. Because it's not harmonic. You know, I think many children take a mother like that for granted. Until they get their own children. And they realize what it actually requires. And I believe the men or the masculines as well, like they take it for granted, they just expect it. But, well, and of course, I know I'm making a generalization here. I know that. I'm quite aware that, of course, there are men out there who is not like that, or women out there who's not like that. I get it. The cosmic egg hasn't hatched yet, right? So this is also like a process of transformation, I think, where you're realizing there's something around you or outside, you know, but it doesn't. You can still build something inside you here that is true to you, right? You can still stay true to that. You can honor those traditions, honor your heart. You can honor these maybe deep feelings here. And you can have gratitude for those who actually are your family, who actually cares. The book said that even also with Fatima here. I believe I said something about that. Maybe it wasn't her. But you know, this idea that the friends we have in life can be just as important as biological family. So when we come across someone who actually is kind, who actually cares, you would have an eye for that. You would feel it instantly, right? You would pick up on it because it's foreign for you, right? It's difficult or it's different. And actually becoming more grateful when you see it. But it usually comes because of the lack of, right? That when something is missing, the other one becomes aware of it. As long as you keep running here with them, they don't see it. They only see themselves wanting to win, But when you are not there, it doesn't make sense to run or to chase or to compete, right? So I think that maybe the feminine or the feminine aspect of us should maybe consider whether we want to try to keep up with the masculine, or we should, preserve our energy for something that is really true to us. So again, what is it you want compared to what is maybe best for you or in your highest best interest? I had that for, I believe it was Scorpio as well. Yeah. Learning receptivity here. It's like, like switching your energy around. If you're masculine here, the things that you exude is masculinity. It means that you are, that you can take care of business, you have your shit together, you are good, I'm good, I am reliable, I am trustworthy, I am goal-oriented, I am in the competing game, I'm aware, I'm ready to go. That's what you exude. That is the aura you have. So nobody would probably offer you anything. They would see that I'm good to go, I'm ready, I'm content, I have everything together, I can manage, I'm. So it's like, why offer something? There's no reason to offer something. When you're masculine, you would probably attract a feminine because you have something to offer. She would feel that. She would be able to feel, oh, here there's something who has everything together. They probably have something to offer. But if you are deep down feminine, you see what you get into? You get into a continuous cycle of offering something. Means that you have to work, offer. If you are deep down feminine here, you need to reverse that energy around to become receptive. It means you have to let it shine through that you are not all together. There are things where you can't really manage, where you do need help, where you are looking for help. Then a masculine can offer something. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes it's seen as successful for a woman to be all together. But what it does is that it just keeps her single. It keeps her alone. Because she is exuding, that is her aura. She's sending out a vibe that, no, I'm good. I don't need anything. I can take care of myself. I am in this competing game here. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Just say when. like I'm ready, I'm fit, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I have, adapted to this masculine world. So yeah, I'm good, I'm ready. Let's move. Let's run here. Let's see who wins, right? But the problem with like a woman or a feminine here is that they can't receive anything, and they will probably also not be offered anything. They are so good at taking care of themselves, preserving. They have built, like an image of something here. And they are very good at preserving it and keeping it up and keeping it going. But the problem is that you can't receive anything. You're not able to receive. Feminines who are in the feminine energy, they receive all the time. Men do things for them, or masculines do things for them, and they allow it, like they allow it to come in. But if you are avoidant of allowing something to come to you, it leads all back to, childhood, where you didn't get support, right? It was not offered to you. You couldn't rely on it. It was inconsistent, or when you needed it the most, it wasn't there. That's when we armor up. Because we have to, we can't rely on anything. We become reliable. We become what we need. We become what we actually need ourselves. But sometimes it's not given to ourselves. It's more like a wall or like an armor, and then it's given to others, because that's what they see. This is what they can feel from you. Does that make sense? I hope this helped somehow. Again, remember the God speed, divine timing. You are in a process of building something here. Like becoming strong enough to take a leap of faith towards something. Maybe to become receptive here. Because this means that you open up. This means that you need trust. You need to be able to trust to become receptive. If you have no trust, you will close the doors. Right? So to become receptive means that you need to trust again. Which of course takes an angel of strength here. That you are safe in your journey here. That you are protected in God's hands, you could say armored or whatever you want to call it, that you are in God's hands protected here. That you can be safe. It takes a while, right? Especially if you come from a very armored, closed off Capricorn place, right? That it takes a while to harmonize, to get that harmonic flight here. You see the problem with money also here. Like if you can't receive, it's something like not feeling worthy of who you are. Because if you were worthy of something and someone else saw it, they would maybe, offer you something. And you would just receive it graciously because I'm worth this. So it makes sense that this is offered to me. Because I know, right? I stand in that honor here. I stand in this value. I know this, right? It's aligned with me. I own it, right? then it would be more easy to receive. Yeah. This is what I have. I hope this helped somehow, Capricorn. Remember, this can be a divine timing thing. You are in a process of maybe, healing something and becoming more aware of something. So, like, lean into it. Again, it's a trust thing, right? It's a trust thing. The child will never run into the arms of a person they don't trust, right? If they are crying and they seek nurture and help, they would run towards someone that they believe in would actually help them, that they trust that this is a safe place for me to run to. Here I will find help and nurture. They won't run to arms where they are not quite sure. So the love aspect is important, right? The trust is part of the love aspect. That if you love someone, you would tend to trust them, right? You would tend to trust that they would open their arms. If they love me, it means that they care. They care how I feel. And if I feel bad, they would probably try to care for me, right? But here again, you see how, like, this one can have their focus on maybe the run, but also the other. This one, though, is just running. They don't even have their eye on this one. And here we have the eye to eye. Here they actually look at each other. They correspond also. Do you want to run? Or do you want to do something else today? Maybe we can run some days, and other days we just sit here, or we lay in the grass together. Here there's a focus on one kind of just on their own track here, and another following, And here it's more of a collaboration. It's more harmonious. It's about seeing eye to eye, knowing each other's worth, knowing that without you, there's nobody I have no one to be mirrored by. Nobody shows me who I am if you are not here. As I said, we don't know light if there's no darkness. We don't know darkness if there's no light. It's just dark, or it's just light. If this one is alone, there's nobody to mirror you. If this one is alone, the same. But if they look at each other here, they will figure out their differences. One can be good in one area and another good in another area, right? Together we are stronger, you could say. But if I'm always in a competition with you, it doesn't feel like we are stronger. It actually feels like we are opponents. So, yeah, this is what I feel I have for you, Capricorn. I hope this helped somehow. Please take care of yourself out there, and Merry Christmas. I think I can start saying that now. for those of you who celebrate. I send you my very best, Capricorn. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.